more gold. It's everything agriculture with Bankie and Yahsonn. Talking food security, cannabis, farming, livestock, fisheries, and everything agriculture. Every week on Real Entertainment Network. Food security, that's the priority. Plant the food locally, feed the whole community. Everything agriculture, building for the future. Bankie and Yahsonn bringing solutions for the islands and the nation. Too much food coming overseas. One disruption bring the country to knees. One storm, one war, one delay. Supermarket shelves empty same day. So we have to plant more yam and dasheen. Fresh vegetables keep the people clean. Raise more goat, more chicken too. Local farming must come true. Every backyard can grow something. Pepper, thyme and pumpkin. Teach the youth we love the soil. Agriculture reward the tile. Hey, if the import stop tomorrow, who gon' feed we through the sorrow? Dig the soil and make it grow. Food security run the show. If the import stop tomorrow, hey, who gon' feed we through the sorrow? Dig the soil and make it grow. Food security run the show. Food security, that's the priority. Plant the food locally, feed the whole community. Everything agriculture, building for the future. Hey, Bankie and Yahsonn bringing solutions for the islands and the nation. Cannabis industry growing fast, creating opportunities built to last. Medicinal herbs and business too. Education changing how we view. Greenhouse farming changing the game. Hydroponics helping the grain. Fishery, livestock, fruit tree line. Agriculture make the island shine. Support local every chance they get. Farmer working and don't forget. No nation strong if the people can't eat. Local food keep the country complete. Wave your hand for the farmers them. Wave your hand for the growers them. Plant more food, grow more food. Feed the nation like we should. From St. Kitts straight across Nevis side. Food security must be the guide. Aye. 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 No country say without local crops never stops.
And global greetings. Welcome to another edition of Everything Agriculture. It's another beautiful Friday evening here in the Federation of Oli and Layamiga, the indigenous names for the islands known as Nevis, Oli, and St. Kitts, Layamiga. I want to say good evening to our brothers and sisters throughout the entire Eastern Caribbean, wherever you may be at this time. Hope you're having a wonderful evening. Hope you had a wonderful day, and you do have a blessed and successful weekend. Also want to say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Some of those greetings will be applicable to you depending on where you may be geographically. So we just want to welcome you to our platform this evening. Want to welcome you to Real Entertainment Network. Want to encourage you to go on over to our YouTube platform, subscribe to the YouTube platform, click on the notification bell, like and share. Also, likewise, on our Facebook platform, we want you to subscribe. Don't just listen, but subscribe. Add to the numbers. We really want you to help to build the platform. So we encourage you to Subscribe to our YouTube. We are also streamed live on Twitch TV as well. So we're streamed simultaneously on Twitch TV, Facebook, and also on YouTube. And so we want to encourage you to go on over to our YouTube platform and subscribe. This evening, as usual, I would have my regular co-host, Yahsonn Bankie King, who will be in. And we are looking forward to having a true conversation, as we would say within Rastafari, because we're not conning anybody, so it's not a conversation, with Ras I Trus, as we get into this evening's edition, and he would be joining us at some point within the program. I want to take this time while we have the time. Anybody celebrating, whether it's birthday, anniversary, or any such, thing, we want to, give you some greetings from our side. And for anybody who is bereaved at this time, going through, the loss of a loved one, a family, a friend, or any such, we also want to send our condolences your way. We want to really encourage you to, as much as possible, share your comments on the platform. And when we open up the lines, we would want you to make sure that you can call in. The number would be 1-869-662-7196. And this evening, we're in with another edition of Everything Agriculture, as usual. It's the last Friday in the month as well. And usually the last Friday in the month is usually geared towards cannabis. And so we are going to be having some discussions surrounding the topic of cannabis, among other agricultural issues here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and even more specifically to Nevis, because seemingly where cannabis is concerned, there is a lack of interest, especially from the government side, and that lack of interest transfers to the adamant oppression from the police force, which leads to undue and, to me, unnecessary harassment for the citizens. And part of the problem that we are seeing being addressed, and one of the reasons why, for me, it is so disturbing, is because a lot of the problems that we are being faced with as the citizens stems from the government side of things. It is due to the fact that they have not sorted out what they need to sort out from their end, why a lot of what is still taking place that should not be taking place in the first instance is still taking place. And so it baffles one when you begin to think about the sort of issues that we have. We have a problem where the government went about and set about to seek to decriminalize cannabis based on the recommendations from CARICOM, among others. And even with the recommendations of CARICOM, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis was not fully satisfied. And sometimes when you look at these things, you can see the evidence of how much these people opposed seeking to take actions in terms of the positive movement towards cannabis, because here is it that you had the entire region, the entire CARICOM region, did a 4-year research in relation to the views and opinions of the people in the region where cannabis is concerned, because we would have seen some positive movements in countries like Uruguay and Canada and some of the states in America and so forth. And some of these are major first world countries. And we were seeing them making some very positive steps and some positive movements. Uruguay, for example, they went full legalization. They didn't even go the route of decriminalization. They went full legalization. You had other countries, like I said, Canada. I fortunately happen to be one of the in the batch with the first set of persons from St. Kitts and Nevis who went to work for a cannabis company in Canada, who was sent by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis as a part of their migrant worker program to work for a cannabis company in Canada. And so when they talk about legal money and legal funding and all of these things, all the people them who went up there and got paid, they were getting paid and monies were sent back to people's family and all that, and all the money was legit. So anyway, that's a whole other story. The point is, the point is, we have on St. Kitts and Nevis would have gotten recommendations from CARICOM that after the 4 years CARICOM would have done their research, CARICOM would have made a decision to say that what the other CARICOM region islands need to do was to treat cannabis the same way they're treating alcohol and tobacco. That was the recommendation, to decriminalize cannabis and treat cannabis like they treat alcohol and tobacco. It was that simple. That is what, that was the recommendations from CARICOM after 4 years of research. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, and I'm pointing out this because I'm saying that it shows and it demonstrates how much these people were opposed to even making some moves, even after getting the green light from CARICOM. They were not satisfied. They went ahead after CARICOM did their 4-year research and gave their recommendations. St. Kitts and Nevis went ahead and have their own regional set of study and research on cannabis. And after that, the people of St. Kitts and Nevis would have decided, yes, they are for decriminalization, and they had votes on 3 areas: the medical cannabis, the recreational cannabis, and the spiritual or religious cannabis. And they got decisions based on all aspects. And even after that, and during that, you would have had the Sankofa case that came up, which now cleared up the ear on a lot of different things, especially when it comes to our constitutional rights. And so here is part of the issue that we have, even though Judge Ventos would have highlighted what is our constitutional rights when it comes to cannabis. And it's only this morning I was having a conversation with an elder, and seemingly a lot of these elders fail to want to accept the reality. I mean, I am trying to explain to the elder that Rastafari is recognized as a religion on St. Kitts and Nevis. And cannabis is now recognized by the government as well as a sacrament. Just how wine and bread is recognized as a sacrament for the church, so is cannabis for Rastafari and any other member of whatever religious or spiritual organization that utilizes cannabis as a part of their spiritual development. And this is our constitutional right. And seemingly how we are functioning right now, even though the judge would have given his clearance and highlighted in that Sankofa case that Rastafari have their constitutional rights, there's some who still don't want to accept what the Constitution says of St. Kitts and Nevis, and we're still hearing some of the same arguments that were presented in the Sankofa case by the defendants then, who happened to be former top cop Ian Quealy, the present CMO, Chief Medical Officer, who was the former CMO then, and the former Attorney General. And the same arguments that were made within the case, if anybody can go and read the case. I mean, a couple of days ago when we had another, when it was last week, when we had the show, I read out some of the aspects of the case that dealt with some of those things. And all of those arguments where they're talking about public safety and health and all of these things were argued and presented and brought in front of Judge Ventos. And Judge Ventos said, look, people, I hear your arguments, but your arguments are not enough for me to infringe upon the claimant's constitutional right, and the claimant happened to be Sankofa at the point. So here is it that the judge would have ruled on what is our constitutional right, and seemingly these people still want to continue to breach our constitutional rights. And I mean, and Nevis now specifically, this is part of where I'm saying now we have the major problem, because we had the premiere on the program a couple of days ago, and I was able to put forward the question to the premier. And I asked him specifically because I know when it comes to the medical cannabis, yes, the medical side of it, it is a rollout from the federal side. So yes, the argument can be made from the medical cannabis side for Nevis that they're waiting for the federal government to roll out and roll out their legislations and regulations, the regulations. However, when it comes to the sides that are under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, those that deal with Rastafari spiritual use, and that has to do with freedom of conscience, the 5 trees and the 56 grams and lounge and all these things. Nevis has all autonomy to do these things. As a matter of fact, one of the arguments brought forward by the premier on the program, and these guys has amazed me, because he is making the argument making the argument saying that, well, if it is your constitutional right, one shouldn't have to get a license to exercise the constitutional right. When this is the premier, a legal mind, saying this, and he said, I guess, he's on the platform and he sound, I guess maybe it's a good answer and a good response, because at the end of the day, still we are having divisions, which I did point out. We are still having divisions who are suffering as a result, and you are supposed to be there to protect divisions from going through things that is infringing upon their constitutional right, unless you just want to use the tax money to pay people whose rights are being infringed and put them through this long struggle and tra-la-la-la-la and have the name brandish in newspaper and all kind of things, and then a couple of years after pay them out and then try to hush it down or whatever the case may be, unless this is what they're really intending to do. Anyway, people, I was buying some time until our guest and my co-host pop in. So I hope you guys were able to grab some of the things from my rant, but I'm going to allow my co-host to introduce himself. And eventually I saw Ras I Trus in the light, but I'm not seeing him anymore, but eventually our guest would be introduced. So Yahsonn Bankie, greetings. Welcome to this edition of Everything Agriculture.
Yahsonn, greetings, and greetings to the listening and viewing audience. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in on another Friday evening. It's the last Friday of the month where we're going to get into cannabis discussion and also food security and the way forward when it comes to St. Kitts and Nevis. You guys could be doing anything on this Friday evening, but you choose to listen to Real Entertainment Network and the Everything Agriculture show. So it shows you have that interest when it comes to the environment and the stuff that you eat. So this evening we'll have Ras I Trus as our guest, one of the president of the Sandy Point Cooperative, and also I think is the chair of the Ohio Cannabis right now. So Yahsonn, I was listening to you and some of the stuff you mentioned and stuff like that. Well, apparently nothing have changed in Nevis. You see, Nevis have this old culture where police tend to go out and harass its citizens when it comes to cannabis, and because they have nothing to do as usual. What's the word I'm looking for? The advisor that the medical cannabis authority hired, the federal government hire, Michael Emmanuel from UWI, the professor there, said that the top cop said the police in Nevis got nothing to do And it seemed like they're proving themselves every day. Because this isn't happening in the Sink It. I was over in Sink It, as you mentioned, Mother's Day, that Sunday, over on the strip, where all kind of party going on out there. Police were not in green inspector right there by beach bar. I myself rolled a spliff and I met him there with other guys that smoking their spliff. And people down on the whole beach just smoke their spliff. The squad and trucker pass back and forth. Them nobody get harassed. This is a culture in Nevis, brethren, where the police keep harassing its citizens. And in Nevis is the opposite. And then you're going to say what the premier say. Me don't tell the premier I hear the problem, you know. Me don't want to hear the premier. Because we as an individual are supposed to know our rights. And if I know I'm not required to have, you understand, a license or anything, I ain't taking on this foolish police who don't know their job. You understand? The only reason I float that application and you was there because the one who's in charge of cannabis, Mr. Jeffrey Hanley, and his office, his permanent secretary, they don't care about ganja, brethren. Same on the Nevis end, Eric Evelyn and these guys, they don't care about ganja. These people care about rum and more rum and more rum.
Okay,
and
Bankie,
that's the way it is. Yes.
But, okay, so I hear that, right? And
yeah, but let me finish up what I say. Yes, they're no business. My point is, even up until this point, right now, see what's happening, and maybe people don't realize it. The month end and Sunday, you know, which mean those who was on the board, all of them time is up, and all of them is frustrated from what I was made to understand. They don't want to be back on the board again, because they owed money. So what is going to happen? A new board have to go farm again. If this is the situation going to happen, so this is the next set of setback going to happen again, because there's so much infighting within the federal cabinet when it comes to cannabis, and those who don't want it, so different areas is fighting this area to footstall a lot of stuff. This is what's going on in a Virgin. This is what's going on, and that's what I keep showing the people, and they have to realize, if you know your rights, stand on your rights. That is the situation. These people ain't serious about cannabis, Virgin. They're not serious. They just see a door open because it was challenged by Sankofa. Even the point where they're supposed to continue, the 56 grams, a madness that they're nothing. Let me take this call, Yahsonn. Go ahead.
yeah, so you know, like I was saying to Bankie, right? I mean, we hear that, and I see what is going on. But what I am trying to figure out is, when will our people on the island, and again, sometimes it's I have to mention it because the reality is we are two Rasta men. Why is it that it has to be the Rasta men, them who have to come and say these things? But the reality is you all need to be holding your elected officials accountable, because what is happening is as a result of your elected officials not doing their jobs. That is what it is, bottom line. They are not doing their jobs. And you, the masses who are paying them, allowing them to get away with not doing their jobs. It is just that simple, because it is on their portfolio. Whether in their minds or in their thoughts, it was a part of election gimmicks, because they figure, well, they could have used it to score some political points and get some extra votes, right, to run in and do what they needed to do at the time. Whether it was that or not, it is already on the books, and they needed to follow up, and they have opted not to. And so as a result, we the masses are still suffering. So we are the ones now who have to hold them accountable and say, hey, look, we are aware that our constitutional rights has been infringed, are being infringed, and we're not taking it anymore. That is just what it is.
Yeah, okay. It's like today, a young lady speaking to me. Police coming to her establishment and harassing her about cannabis, searching all the freezer and so forth. She started to record, they go take out your phone, they take out your phone, you can't record. Virgin, why is these things happening? You have your phone to record for your safety, Virgin. How come you could never tell me I could not record? Because, you see, remember, all of we crazy, you know, because the moment I'm going to violate my rights, you understand? And the problem is that Nevis have a premium self, you know, and nobody could tell me the premium have a say over the police. I don't want to hear the crap. Who want to entertain this crap can be entertained and can be fooled. And that's why you're going to see this thing, this 98% literacy. No mean nothing, you know. Reading is something where when you read something, you should be able to comprehend what you have read, analyze it at the same time. That's what your mind is supposed to process and not just read something you don't know what you're reading. So many of us can't do that. So by keep repeating this 98 literacy rate, otherwise people would not be afraid to speak up when their rights been trampled on and be silenced. Virgin, I rather be under the ground and die free than to be on top of this earth and live and be enslaved. And I'm being enslaved by my own people. It not go work. If it never happened when me a teenager and in my early 20s and me work when me 50, me don't live my life. Me don't live my life. So anybody who come across my path, they're wasting the time, because if you're going to fight me, I'll fight back, you know, because that's all me know, how to fight back. And uniform now bother me, because when I see people in uniform or people in position who are not doing their work, I see you as being corrupt. And that's just how it is. So your suit ain't going to make me feel no way. Your uniform ain't going to make me think of you any different. You're a corrupt person. Because you're infringing on civilian rights, my people. You all have rights. Why people got police to treat them like us? Me not get it. You have, the young lady not even city warrant. They don't even city warrant the same thing. You can't touch it. And then the premier give location and big gratitude to all the rest of them. What? For what? When the citizens are cry out? For what? Virgin, if we don't want to call spade a spade, I'm going to keep buttoning up these things and think they don't come out and make an apology and expunge people who had criminal records because they admit the fault what they've been doing, you know. The information is right there. So I personally don't need the premier nor the AG, nobody to tell me nothing when all the years we're saying we was right, we're using the herb. We always been saying it. It's just that we just never challenge it in the system. But then, you know, the Constitution always gives every citizen the right to use whatever for their sacrament. That's just the reality about it, you know. That's what it is. And then because of the case, they still went and put the Rastafari Recognition Act, where they're going to tell you, well, me one person, so you tell every citizen who is a Christian or Muslim for them to take part in sacrament, they have to be part of a group. You see, people are mad in their head, sick in their head, sick, bad. Cannabis virgin, they don't love Rasta. Put it out, they don't love people who use herb. And I can say this, every citizen, let me say citizen, well, the citizens are bit too. Those who get sick, they reach a point they always call my phone for cannabis. It's 2 weeks ago, a parent called me, a Christian lady, me not call it church, her son end up in school with asthma attack. The doctor telling me, gotta get cannabis tea right away. The doctor me saying, and my phone ring, and the farm had to go put like this to put on a pot of tea to boil and these things. You understand? And by the time reach by the shop, they could have been able to get the car lay them on the back seat, and then give the mom some more cannabis to take home and tell her how to prepare it and stuff like that. So if doctor is telling people to use the herb, then they got the CMO who's still putting her own thing in place where she want the doctors them to have certain type of approval to this way and not what they want and stuff like that. Because me a doctor too. People get stroke to come to me and ask what to use, kind of plans to use, and people depressed and asking something. You see what I mean? So not because I went to their traditional school for them to use these pharmaceuticals, the bush that is there do the same thing too. And this is all about control, my virgin. So I ain't taking the Premier serious, the Minister of Agriculture serious, Mr. Jeffrey Hanley serious, the federal cabinet serious when it comes to agriculture and ganja. If it ain't tangible, it no work. So many people talking. Agriculture is something, is like a love, is a verb, is an action word, not just talking. You will see if the energy is there, and you must put the money where it belongs to. So this talking, you think me waste time with people who waste my time. I never time for anything, the virgin. Tomorrow, I'll be taking part in the third annual multicultural festival at the Malcolm Gishard Park. I also me have to go because me deal me buckle jelly water. Somebody have to come and drop off something. And this thing, my thing is about agriculture. And that's what I continue to do. I'll be having mango, different varieties of mango on display. So you come and note, I'll be having mango cupcake, cheesecake with a mango syrup on it and different stuff. Planting, a value added from the farm, planting chips with a mango dip. And then I still have, I'll show you how big planting and banana can come in. So you could get regular planting to buy and banana. And you'll have jelly water and all this back in the mouth. So you get it fresh and nice and cold in the morning. And we'll still have different varieties of mangoes. The idea is about promoting and showing the different varieties of mangoes that we have on the island, because some come in early this year. So by the time July comes, some will be out. But it's so much mango, you'll still get a lot of varieties. So probably about 30, close 40 or more varieties. But I'm content with the amount of it. Once you have over 15, 20 varieties, you have more than enough because it's a lot. And then I'll still make some different chow where you could get different stuff to sample out of the mangoes and stuff. But definitely looking forward for tomorrow. I mean, I'll be missing the farm, so I know I might get 1 or 2 monkey damage or whatever, but it's part of what it is when it comes to go out and educate the general public and stuff like that. But this thing when it comes to cannabis and agriculture, Yahsonn, in the part we may get to listen to this because we can see talking is one thing, my virgin. But all we do as human beings, just like the sheep and goat and all animals, we all we do all days eating a virgin, eat, you know? Because that's our fuel. So we ain't no difference than the animals and them. We too are animal. So we just go through to our work, but nobody has a work except us and pay bills. So what is going on here in Nevis with the harassment of cannabis and this police feel good and this thing keep going to the court and costing people, taxpayers, money. But it's a joke and it's a shame and what's going on in Nevis in a holistic way, yes.
What I'm going to do right here, right? I'm going to read a little piece again from the Sankofa case, right? This piece here, because when we tell people that in relation to Rastafari, the Constitution give us unlimited amount. The defendants in the case were arguing to try to limit the use of cannabis to Rastafari. And again, the defendants would have been then top cop Ian Queely, who is now an ambassador somewhere, I think is Morocco or somewhere around the world right now. The present CMO, Dr. Lars, and the former AG, who would have been Mr. Byron. They were
but
the
unlimited
defendants.
amount exists, but the unlimited amount that don't already passed already. The case done settled already.
I'm just going through, right, some of the arguments that they made to show people still that these are some of the same arguments that are being presented by the present AG and the present Prime Minister, which in all of these things were already debated.
That what?
Huh?
That what? That what? What the AG say? That what?
So this is what they say.
So, who? The AG?
The present AG, the present AG and the present Prime Minister is still talking about
what?
Well, the reason that they're not freeing up the cannabis is because of issues with safety and crime and violence and all of these different things. So I'm just pointing out to you that this was already argued in the case already with Sankofa. Not you, but the public generally. The defendants also ground the limitation on the use, possession, and cultivation of cannabis by adults on the basis that there are links to violence and crime. However, these relate to trafficking of significant amount of cannabis, which is not the subject of the decision. This decision focuses on the use of cannabis by adults for the purposes of the Rastafari religion. The defendants in the affidavit evidence of the COP, the top cop, have not provided any evidence to show that the use of cannabis for religious purpose is inextricably linked to violence, crime, and war on illegal drugs. I note as well that this issue is one that is currently engaging the attention of the executive and no doubt will soon engage the attention of the National Assembly of St. Christopher and Nevis. However, this court must not shirk from its responsibility to decide in accordance with constitutional principles whether it is satisfied based on the evidence presented to the court by the defendants that section 6.2 and 7.1 of the Drug Act are reasonably required in the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health, and the limitations on that right do not go further than is necessary to accomplish these objectives. The defendants accept that these provisions create a blanket prohibition on the possession and cultivation of cannabis, contrary to the claimant's rights to freedom of conscience guaranteed to him under Section 3 and 11 of the Constitution, but seek refuge in three main reasons stated above as falling within the exception found in Section 11.5 of the Constitution. I reiterate that the fact that cannabis may cause harm to some persons, namely children, young persons, and vulnerable adults, does not justify a complete prohibition on its use, possession, and cultivation by adults for the purposes of the Rastafari religion. In submissions and during oral arguments, the defendants remain steadfast that only complete prohibition on the use of possession and cultivation of cannabis was necessary to protect public health, public safety, and to curb the illegal trade and supply cannabis. I fail to appreciate why the difficulties that the defendants allege might arise if an exemption for religious use is allowed can justify the continued infringement of the claimant's rights to freedom of conscience. Moreover, I disagree that a blanket legalization or decriminalization for religious use would defeat the objectives for which the Drug Act was passed. And this is just a part of the arguments, and I'm just pointing out, Bankie, that this was a part of the arguments that were presented then, and the judge had to decide that administrative difficulties alone cannot be used to justify the contribution of the claimant's right to freedom of conscience guaranteed to him by sections 3 and 11 of the Constitution. The defendants, by the online publication of the draft Cannabis Bill 2019.
All what you said, do not hold water when you're talking about the Prime Minister and the Attorney General. So what is there be in my hand? What is these? What these prove that what? What these prove? I could go unlimited amount of ganja, right? I could go a million ganja tree, right? So I need these. I could tee up these here. I could tee up these here and tell you. I care about these here. I do these for those who afraid to talk. They can go and register and get what they want. Me not care about these here. Me afraid for the people of St. Nevis rights. Because me don't live my life. Because the act was not functioning. And the Attorney General and the Prime Minister give me these here. And then give me. And then give me. So what you're saying don't make no sense. A common sense we deal with, so which means Dwyer was right then when he said 90% of St. Nevis is not gonna common sense then. So that you're trying to tell me? So the Attorney General and the minister, the Prime Minister himself, don't know what they're saying, Virgin. Because what me got in my hand here, and my property have the rights, where is 4, 5, 10 property have the right for me to get any amount of ganja. You take me how to plant ganja? Me not tap plant ganja. So let me stay in the crazy zone. Because I know one man that harass me. So who no want to fight for the rights and the business, but me fight for who can't fight? Because they not break no law, brethren, and the premier them know that the man them not, the people them not break no law. But our society don't love herb, they love alcohol. That's what they embrace. Tomorrow we're gonna have activity me going to, and you so much rum sell there. You want so much rum consume there, and you got more than 800 gallon of rum gonna be consumed. But we not have a problem with that. You know, 800 gallon of drumby and 1,000 gallon, more than 1,000 gallon of alcohol consumed on any fete. They just had a fete, they're breaking down over the same memorial with Monday Gandhi in the long weekend. How much rum and consume there, how much of the racetrack, how much of all activity. You hear them talk about these things? Virgin, nobody can me. I mean, not playing about the game. What I say things for what it is. And that's how me gonna always be. Me not gonna run the bush. Who want entertain the crap, that's the business. Me stick to the point. So me not get excited by who wants it. So me not entertain certain people the conversation, virgin. Because they don't violate people's rights. We and you supposed to get compensated for the harassment we go through. As citizens, I pay my taxes and most of these people and them. How much taxes I paying for my house and my property and them? Them not pay nothing. They live in a police barracks. What me pay for? And want to come harass me? Really? Well, that not gonna work. That not gonna work, virgin. They not got nothing. Me and you, some of us got more assets than them. The majority police vehicles and this and that. We pay property tax, land tax, this kind of tax, business tax. Them ain't paying nothing but putting in gas in the public. Taxpayers' vehicle for the general public and harass us at the same time. Well, me not accept that. Because any police coming in front of me, they will be recorded. So it don't make the sense to waste my time. And don't come out and look for nothing, because this is what was given to me. I mean, I need it. See them here. You understand? So, what the Prime Minister and the aid say, and what Mark them say, is racist time because they know this is owed to me. That's how it is. When they're in Africa, and these they never work pan for me, and make more these because you're not embarrassed nobody. But the problem is the police force, the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Premier, the Prime Minister, all of them a problem, virgin.
So,
and this
Bankie,
is going to have to be a problem. So this election coming up, despite of any party who wants to better talk about what they plan for cannabis be, and the harassment in Nevis when it comes to cannabis, because everybody want to jump into so them go into politics, but yet nobody addressing agriculture on a serious level, cannabis on a serious level, the harassment of the citizens and small businesses, how they're struggling. And yet all these big entity getting a concession. No. We not sleep. We not accept this kind of crap from nobody. And no fancy suits and all these things.
Bankie, to put certain things into perspective, right? I guess the point that I am making and was making was the fact that those certificates that you are pointing out now, right? One of the reasons why you are able to have those certificates in your hand was because of what happened with you and Jama. And as a result, it forced the government to actually do what they should have been doing from the perspective of especially the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, because they were doing absolutely nothing where cannabis is concerned. But then they were forced to now activate the office, and then with the help of, and we must give commendation to the young CEO for the Medical Cannabis Authority, Native Mills, who would have done the work and reach over from ministry to ministry and seek to make sure that what you have in your hand was in your hands. And the point that you're making, it leads right back to the point, because the fact is the ministers were not doing their job. If they were doing their job, everybody who needed them license, they could have done get them already, but they were not available. When you go to the office to get them, they were not ready to get. They are now ready. But it's as a result.
You know what I'm saying, Yahsonn? We don't need these. We don't need this paper.
I will agree to that. And that's what the Premier was saying.
So what are lacking of people for then? So what are lacking people for?
Exactly.
So what are lacking of people for?
I was saying, the Premier himself said it in his comment when he was on
that. I didn't know that.
One of the things, so that's what I'm saying. So he's the leader.
But it's just gibbage, we call it. You know that. You think the Premier just know these things, virgin.
I am pointing it out so that the people who are listening can understand what is exactly happening, because we are saying it, he is in agreement, but at the same time, his people who he expect to look out for him and support him is still going through this harassment. Because you just point out today that you said some young lady.
Exactly.
So we say the same thing, you know? You said the young lady was telling you that some police came into her place to search for cannabis and tell her she can't put on her phone and all this. All of these things are problems that we shouldn't have to be faced with, because an individual should have the right to record the police, and the police should have the right to record. If they ain't got on no camera upon their clothes, that's not them fault. But me as a citizen, if you come to me, I have that right to record you. You can't tell me I can't record you. How else I will get evidence? However, you could say whatever it can be your word against mine if I don't have any evidence. And obviously, the way how we see some things happen sometimes, we can't necessarily trust them because in some cases there are a lot of collusion when it comes to the civil service. So, I mean, we're really living in some serious times, and these are some issues that we don't really talk about them because a lot of people don't want to have to address these things. A lot of people still have some things etched in their mind. I tell you today when I was talking to the taxi driver, Bankie, I talking to a taxi driver and I telling him, boy, Rastafari is recognized as a religion. The man I tell me, no, Rastafari ain't a religion. Rastafari ain't recognized as no religion. I said, boy, the government recognized it. And as a matter of fact, the government recognized cannabis as a sacrament. Just like how wine.
What is happening to the government? This is all the way to the United Nations, just like any other thing.
I even went further to tell him that. I said, boy, Rastafari is not just recognized locally, you know. Rastafari is recognized by the United Nations as a religious organization, as a spiritual organization. And I mean, the man no want to accept it. The man said, no, nothing go so. And so that was just a demonstration of the mindset of our people still where that is concerned. And so
but those things are easy to find out, Yahsonn. Those things are easy to find out. Those things can just be researched. It just be a phone in your hand. For your phone is a computer.
Here's the problem. At two Rasta man here talk about cannabis. What they gonna think? Boy, the man just want to smoke up the thing.
Really? So you can't use your phone to find information. You're gonna just be arrogant.
You go to your mindset, but what I'm saying, we're trying to help them to bring the information to them. But in some cases, they're nearly listening to the message, and they see the messenger or the messengers. And these guys on the other side who should be doing what we are doing in terms of trying to educate and re-educate the masses are not doing it. And the only place they're hearing it is here. But at the same time, there is that bias because they're going to think, oh man, the Rasta man just want it. When the reality is, it don't free up to us. We ain't want it free up to us. Constitutionally, it is free for us. But we just highlighting the fact that it is and trying to get them to understand and even police them who seemingly don't understand that is the way it is. And this is part of the problem. And then you have the people at the premier now.
But one of the saddest things in the Virgin.
Yes, I.
One of the saddest things is that these same police who harass people over the years, they have brothers, cousins who they sit down alone and smoke with, grow weed, watch them sell weed, and them are left and harass other people, you know. And that is the funny thing about it. Them same police in their smoke herb and use the same herb and come out go harass you. So what do the people herb? Not thief it? No them do? What do I do with it? What do I do with it? Them to smoke the same weed, them to have brothers, every police in the force have family members that are around them smoke herb and use herb. And they'll get themselves into nothing. This is our society we live in and we all know these things. So don't tell me say one or two little youth on the street who smoke herb and whatever and use that against me as an adult to think I'm going to entertain your crap. I mean, entertain the crap. Once I have my property, wherever walking around, nobody can tell me nothing about no herb. You understand? So you can't come out and tell me nothing about no herb.
And as you were talking about alcohol earlier, Bankie, in terms of the police the same way. They're drinking the Hammond. And they're cool.
Not about the Hammond, not about regular rum. Because we're promoting rum, Hammond at the least. That's a local thing there. We do the beer and the wine, and them are bringing a Hammond locally. We promote local Hammond. Let me talk about the beer, them and the rum and Ark and wine, they're bringing by thousands of cases. Hammond at the least. They leave the Hammond alone.
We ain't got a problem with it. We ain't got a problem with it.
Yes.
Right? What we got a problem with is the fact that it is supposed to be illegal, just how they want to claim that cannabis is illegal. However, they turn a blind eye to it. And that's the point that I'm making. Why they can't turn the same blind eye. But that's the point that I'm making. So
but you keep saying the same thing. When the commissioner of police say, the police is going to work it, do you hear the commissioner of police? The man say the commissioner of police says so. And the high command says the bridge, so we'd have to go the same much over, you know? It don't say so. We know what the problem is. The police in Nevis not got nothing to do. You want me to play the technician play the tape. We pull up the tape when we find that Mackie play. Okay, that's what we have to do because we have to remember the president, the man don't say so. And that's the reality. So we have to find the reason behind this thing. They got nothing to do. No crime there, not this. The only thing that is the crime is weed. You see? That's it. That's it, brethren. Nevis is too peaceful. So they want people to kill themselves and chop up each other. But if that not happen, the only thing, go harass people for weed. Yeah. That's it. That show how silly and how the use of taxpayers' time and resources have been spent on harassing citizens over some little bit of ganja tree and whatever. Virgin, if people got 1 million ganja tree in the yard and I don't business, car people got hundreds and hundreds of cases of rum, and you go by the brewery and buy any amount of rum, then I tell you and sell you 100 cases a day.
Nobody gonna say you intend to supply. Nobody gonna charge you for intent to supply.
Then now I go say children, little children, I go drink them now, nothing like that. You got to secure them in a special place. When they smoke, but any kind of vodka and something. So what is the difference? Because the young people in the house, they give them alcohol to drink. You see? It's not like I don't know these things. I see these things. When they give the little one them some beer to drink and they laugh about it. That is how our society is. That's why I gonna stay in the crazy zone. I ain't coming out of the crazy zone. Because something wrong on the other side of the good zone, the virgin. We shut down one thing and we embrace the next. This ganja thing is the least. We here embrace at age of 16 consent. And I worry about some 5 ganja tree and ganja chinach and something. When our society embracing when you're an adult at age 18, but you can mess with a 16-year-old and we think them thing that is okay. You know, see, we live in a pedophile society. Huh? And the lawmakers them not advocate to change these things. And you want to continue thinking about ganja until they change these pedophile laws. They can come talk to me, but also that nobody can tell me nothing, virgin. Huh? You can't vote, you can't get a license, but my 15-year-old, 16-year-old in my house can go out then got sex and get picnic and something, and still an adult can't vote. And then some police and some politician will come tell me something about ganja. I don't want to hear about ganja from nobody. Until they start to put proper things in place when it comes to what they plan about ganja and what they think about alcohol, they think about the age of 16 and all these things, where they may supporting nobody when it comes to politics. Nobody. I want real issues, real conversation, otherwise they stay with it, all the same thing. Let me hear these things here. Yeah, me not hear more weed, virgin. Let me talk about the alcohol issue and the tobacco issue. They were number 1 and number 2. You can't skip number 1 and number 2 and jump on number 3. Then it make no sense. How you skip the foundation and put on the roof? How it make sense? When the same number 3 and where you are going to for medicinal purposes. So tell me how these things make sense. Eh? What kind of society we living in? Nobody talk about number 1 and number 2. You see, this is a comedy show. Huh? And they want we can't analyze these things. Joking.
What we're gonna do now is probably go reach a technician. So we're gonna do a break after this. I'm gonna get in some of the comments from the people on the wall. So reach a technician so we could do a break after that, and then by the time we come back on the second half, I hope I Trus will be ready. Trus, you could mute your mic in the background in the meantime if you're listening. In the meantime, Real Entertainment says good evening to everyone. Would appreciate if you hit the like button. Hit the like button whether it's on Facebook or it's on YouTube, and we would encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube platform.
You can hear me?
Yeah, man. So mute your mic in the meantime until. Yeah. Good evening to everyone. Greetings and blessings, says the Ultimate Movie Clips. The Ultimate Movie Clip says they don't want people to be fully aware and conscious. The Ultimate Movie Clip says,
That's
how
right.
did they come up with how much marijuana plants to plant in your own yard? How did they come up with that? Vicky Walters says, good evening. The Ultimate Movie Clip says they said only 5 plants to plant in your yard or on your property. Even so, 5 isn't complete number. It's 9. Oliver Leibert says, hi Kings, I'm here, bro. Yeah, greetings, Oliver. The Ultimate Movie Clip says that's real nonsense. The police are supposed to serve and protect. That's their oath they took. Yet they're doing the opposite. Gotti Brown says we need to know what the comprehension rate is now that the real measure of intelligence of countries. Literacy is the ability to read. Comprehension is the ability to understand what you read. Ras Roots Life says, blessed evening, all the ones. Jando S8W says, violence and crime been happening for mankind exists. To say the herb causes such behavior is vile. The ultimate movie clip says, Babylon system is a fraud. They say only 5 plants to plant. Even so, 9 is the complete and perfect number. It's just to control you and brainwash you. Jando S8W says, a lot of them who say hallelujah, drinking alcohol all week. Vicky Walter says, I thought Rastafari is a way of life rather than a religious practice. I guess I need to be schooled some more in that aspect. To respond to that, Vicky, yes, Rastafari is a way of life. That's the true definition of Rastafari. However, based on the basic tenets of Rastafari, they can be classified, and I use the term classified. And so there's some aspects or groups of Rastafari that can be classified as a religion based on the basic tenets and the fact that they consider themselves to have a deity and other things that would align them with what would be described or classified as a religion. And so it has been internationally recognized as a religion. However, there are many Rastafari brothers and sisters who are not a part of any religious or spiritual, well, any religious body or group of Rastafari who just, like you are pointing out, just see Rastafari as a way of life, and that is what it is. So I hope that helped to clarify you a bit, but that's basically what it is. The ultimate movie clip says, we as a people give the government too much power. So you're not crazy. Those who took away your freedom and free will, they are the crazy ones in jacket and tie. Vicky Walter says,
Yes,
thanks for the clarification. Yes, son. Okay, yes. Lynn Brown says, good evening. Ruth Lynn Hill is watching in with you. Greetings, Ruth Lynn. Rusty Libert says, I am in my morning listening. Laurie Wharton says, good evening, all. Lynn Brown says, holistic doctors are taking over as they should. And the reasoning continues. And I want to encourage everybody who's locked in right now to, go on over to the YouTube platform, subscribe to the platform, subscribe to Real Entertainment Network if you're listening to us on Facebook. Yeah, man, like the page, subscribe to the page. You know, that little effort helps with our algorithms and helps to bring other people to the platform, and so other people can share and have the experience that you are having right now listening to us. And we truly and truly appreciate that. And as much as possible, you make your comments. If it's one thing here on this platform, we try as much as possible to read out your messages, all who participate, because we consider your participation great and important to us. We're gonna be taking a break right now. You got through the technician. We should be taking a break. No, not really.
Not as yet. I mean, when he's ready, he will show the sign. So we just continue until he should do this.
This evening we should have Ras I Trus or Ras Trus with us. I don't know if you're ready, Ras Trus, but you're open to log into the reasoning, and let's get into the conversation, because there are lots of things for us to continue in this aspect. And as we are pointing out, Synkits is experiencing something totally different to what we're experiencing in Nevis, and so we're hopeful to get some ideas on what's going on Synkits and some updates on what's happening in relation to the ORU and the ORU and the cannabis aspect, as I think you're the chair for the cannabis aspect, and I'm not certain if it's for ORU on a whole as well. But it would be nice to get some update as well on SPACs and what's been happening over there. And I know you guys would have had some issue with the market and the market being damaged, and we don't know if all of that has been sorted out and all that, and how things are going, if you guys are still active in the market and all that. So we look forward to getting some updates on that side and continue the conversation as we continue on this edition of Everything Agriculture. We want to say good evening to all who are logged in. We want to welcome you to the platform. If you're on for the first time, feel free to like and share and encourage somebody to join the conversation here with us this evening. So Ras Bankie, as we are with Trus, anything you wanna add to the conversation as we We continue.
Just idea?
Yeah,
Well, as we,
he was just there. Yeah, man. Just I welcome yourself to the
Aye,
platform.
greetings.
Yes, I.
Manners and respect.
Yeah, it seems as if he's still moving
I kind
around
of
a
back
little.
and forth still. To the stove still, you know what I mean? Food is the staff of life. You know, the Ital Fridays, you know what I mean? Mr. Otter food never got to food to feed the people. Me don't know the thing go. So give
yes, sorry.
thanks. Yeah, give thanks for the opportunity to be on the platform. You know what I mean? Government name Lionel Stevens, aka Ras I Trus, aka President for Life, President of SPACs, the Sandy Point Agricultural Cooperative, which has been around for 16 years now. You know what I mean? Trying to be a pillar, you know what I mean, for the agricultural community. Yeah, SPACs is also a member of the OIU, the Organization of Rastafari Unity. I am the co-chair, presently chair of the Cannabis Committee. So yeah, when we're talking cannabis, let me just jump in on that. What I'm saying is basically true. You know what I mean? The government made this step to create an industry, recognize Rastafari due to the Sankofa case. But in truth and in fact, everything basically stagnant. As Bankie said, the Virgin Marshal came, we had the conversations with him and so forth. We gave feedback, and yet still we haven't heard anything really coming from the government side. You know what I mean? But yet still persons continue to report being harassed for possession, cultivation, and moreover still, you know? So, but like Bankie saying, you know what I mean, once we know we're right, you would defend your right. You wouldn't defend a wrong. You're talking about right, the truth. You see what I'm saying? So, the reality of the situation is that you could see the treatment is not the same across the board. You know what I mean? Like the Constitution and the Rastafari Recognition Act systematically give Rastafari the right, which we had it already, to go as much home as we want and our foundations and so forth and so fifth. You see what I'm saying? But we're still looking at what happened to the rest of the country, because it shouldn't be that as much as we have it as the sacrament still, some people still look at it with Rastafari to anybody else, although we are human beings still. So we have the same right. So where Rasta could go any amount, which we fought for that, we deserve that, that's how we sacrament. We're still saying that the rest of the country should have that privilege to have access to the herb as well. So we're still waiting to see how the industry is going to go, what are going to be the benefits for the common man, you know what I mean, what are going to be the requirements and so forth. So no information really forthcoming, and due to the disorganization of, put it, the ganja smoking community. When I say the Rasta community, the ganja smoking community. This is where I'm coming from. Because when you look at the society as a whole, we lack leaders. When I say leaders like Bankie, who would come out and speak out against issues. But a lot of us, we fear the government, because when you talk against the government, the victimization, the blacklisting, the targeting, and these type of things that persons would have experienced over the years. So we find persons sometimes run behind the social media, tell Bankie to say this thing, tell Yahsonn to talk about these things, because some persons are more vocal than some. But what you don't find is that civil society coming together on the community level, so to speak, and discussing issues or challenges affecting the community. And when I say this all the time about the farming community in particular. unless the government don't organize a workshop, a training session, a seminar, a meeting, you do not see farmers coming together to discuss nothing. This is where I'm coming from. And these are things that really hindering us from holding the fire to the politicians them feel. Because individually, they tend to dismiss us, right? Like we're the children or we're nobody. But when they see the crowd and the numbers, they want to be keen because they know the numbers could affect them. Simply saying, if the farmers, even once a month, were to have a discussion, and even one topic per month, this is where I'm coming from, then we could agree to disagree how we could move forward on that one topic. But without these conversations collectively, then we just basically left to sit and observe and accept whatever the politician do. Because who is going with me to challenge them? You see where I'm coming from? So we got that kind of situation, and then it's all around me, brethren. I've been saying to people, when you look at the country on a level, we only have protests and marches when a politician say, let we go downtown. But outside of that, you hardly find a march. And there's so many injustices, so many wrong things that are going on. But no, if I go down the road, oh, they're going to say, I against the government, we might gonna work tomorrow. People going to say, oh, me look attention, where me not go sit down. But they ain't looking at the issue. And a lot of times, we don't want to show support or show allegiance until it reach with doorstep. You see where I'm coming from? For example, in the farming community, every election cycle, the government take away somebody's land. House got to build. You know what I mean? But as a farming community, we are not going to join and say, no, you're weakening the community. We don't got issues supplying the demand of the food. So when you take away the land from me, how we going to do it? But no, but when you reach a Yahsonn door now, Yahsonn want the farming community come to his rescue. But we say all of we are farmers. So whatever affecting Yahsonn, it should be an issue for me too, because I might pass the stage, I might not reach it yet. That's what I'm saying. But if it is addressed, whether I don't pass it, I may reach it yet. When I reach there, it wouldn't be there. That's where I'm coming from. So that's just my little 2 cents in the general vibe. SPACs continue to strive despite the challenges. It's been a year since Yahsonn Enterprises truck tumble over the steel and the public market and an infrastructure that we would have built on out of our own monies. You understand? And up to now, we can't get a compensation for it. You understand? The stone, them down there fall out day by day. We're running a risk trying to sell with food out of India, still trying to serve the customers, because the customers refuse to walk, come down in the market because all the ramp slippery or excuses. The elderly and I refuse. This way we have steps and we got railing. They feel so comfortable there. And it has been over a year.
But Chosai, can't you guys...
He spoke to the farmer PS. He said he would have sent some communication. The next PS coming. And they're saying that the insurance is willing to pay, but they need some document to say that the property is the government owned. You see where I'm coming from? That's the whole up. That's the whole up. So I shouldn't have to go run down nobody to get no document, even though I want it done. You see where I'm coming from? This is just to show you the one them who in there who's supposed to be delivering for us. They're telling you, you got to go do it. This is where I come from. Because look at it. And this is law. And I say, it's 16 years, July coming, the first Saturday in July. This year is going to make 16 years since the organization would have reopened the market. And we gone from functioning on a Saturday only to being open from Monday to Saturday. You see
before you all reopened the market, how long it was closed for?
Almost 20 years.
All right, then. That's the whole point I'm getting at. So it's 20 years since it's been functioning. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and we still can't get no rights to the property.
No. So how you get inside there? Did the government put you all in there?
Word of mouth from the then Minister of Agriculture in 2010.
Which was
Dr. Timothy Harris.
Good.
Timothy Harris.
But everybody acknowledge you all is there. So not anybody say you all inside there functioning and dealing with the community.
But all of them would have come there, even to the present Minister of Agriculture in his campaign to be elected. He came there and had a conversation with us. Since that we see him back again to reach out to we.
What is hard getting a letter from the department, from the director of the PS, and just giving a letter that you all have permission to be there occupying? That is something simple. This don't make no sense.
But that's why he's saying, I don't know what is the issue. So they're saying the government can't find no document to say that the market is their own. So if that is the case, just turn it over to we. We've been there 16 years now functioning, which clearly means they have no intention for it.
So do you mean that so who the market belongs to? So who the market belongs to?
But if you are saying it should belong to we now because squatters' rights, we done almost 16 years there.
So who built it? The building just appear as a market. Somebody had to build a market.
What he's saying is it's supposed to belong to the government. But no, the government has to cover the government is saying that they can't find a document to say that the property belongs to them. That is what he just said.
You see where I'm coming from? Hear me. When we went there first, right?
Every property is registered, Virgin. That doesn't make sense. These property are registered. So you can always find a title search for the land and all these things. This doesn't make sense.
So then it makes it look like you want them in position and not competent, them and incapable, them and really doing what they're supposed to do. Because what I'm saying.
Watch here.
Maybe they want property.
Yahsonn, if Trust I go to the registrar and see what which the Sandy Point market is registered in, I bet you find out. Everything is registered, Virgin. That's just the reality. Most stuff are registered, and that would be one of them that is registered. That's just what it is.
But I hear that. But here is this to Bankie. You say you're looking out for people. You say you want people to contribute.
It's a system, Yahsonn. You know, it's a system too. Even though your setting is still a system, it's part of a system, which is just settings to comfort you. But the tangible things that is showing that you care. If it's not happening, that tells more than just talking in a Virgin. It's just talk. Me and you over these things, so we're not entertaining it. So we're not just talking.
So why are our people rewarding people for this kind of behavior? Because this is a simple thing.
Because it's cultural. It's cultural, Virgin. It's cultural.
This is food security. These people are doing what you say you want done. They're not serious.
They're not serious.
Hear me. We open it, we clean it up, we do whatever, right? And while we just there, after it being closed for 20 years, nothing being collected for it because nothing happening there. And here is a group of young men take up the challenge to renovate, reopen, and revitalize, utilize, bring back a strength to this thing to help the community, right? And there was an attempt to do a lease arrangement in the beginning. You hear? And the then director or permanent secretary at the time, instead of having a conversation with the organization, I don't know who all of them was at the meeting, but they sat in a meeting and came up with a figure of $1,500 per month. You see where I'm coming from? When they arrest them for 20 years, nothing ever paid, nothing they would have done to it. You understand?
So
And we clean it up and
who
try to
got the pocket?
utilize it. And you're telling me that we must pay $1,500 a month. So we rejected that, and nothing has ever come back since that. Since that. The Sandy
So,
Point
Yahsonn,
Agricultural Cooperative has been a part of everything in agriculture since it's established.
the
You see what I'm
ginger
saying?
and public
We have
market is shut down for how long? So if you go and take over the ginger and public market, what will happen? Can you just deny use neither?
Maybe somebody's gonna come and say you got to pay so much amount of money every month for it the same way, because this is how these
That's
things
the whole
function.
point. Yes, but they not use it, just they abandoned. You see, it just they abandoned. And you have vendors they're selling out on the street there by Best Buy, and there's a beautiful market there that could be used and all these things. And the Minister of Agriculture is where? Gingerland. And when I was at Hanley's Road, there was one point I tell them guys go up there and sell some stuff, you know. And you don't have to go to sell stuff when you have a market right there in a central place. Virgin, what we love is, but who is got to eat too? You see, car people they be. So no matter where they go, they must eat. But we just don't see these things. And that is what it is. What these guys they are doing I remember when they started up that cleaning up and preparing that place to start for the cooperative. And when they started, and look at where they are, how time flies so fast. And these guys got to be commended. Instead, they are being fight down.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Man now say that they ain't trying to say they're working on it and whatever, but what I'm saying, in the reality of the situation, my brother, it don't go a whole year. You understand? And if we so care about farmers and food producers, then we can't do it all. How is it you're gonna leave us hanging like that for over a whole year? And the company itself, Hapson itself, you know what I mean? Hapson, they're making money. Big company like that, Mr. Hapson, they even come down, come peep and we. To even to have a conversation how we could sort out this thing. And we trying to play diplomatic, but you want document to show ownership. When the government don't write a letter say they gave us the authority to utilize this space. The structure that was damaged was built by funds from the organization. So why all this document to compensate? We building a move. They were transporting some big rolls of steel. And instead of using chain to strap down the steel and the truck, they use the canvas come along, my brethren. Back in sugarcane time, simple cane, a big chain they got tied on the cane them. And you tell me in 2025, man a move steel, big roll of steel, mounted up on top of one another, more than 10 feet in the air. And you're going to drive through a community with come along and hold on them there. My brethren, where the steel drop, right, is them my mother to sell, my brethren, them. Right where my mother to sell. God bless you, was sick the week before. I was in the hospital, was right there, she be my brethren, them. You hear? And up to this day, the man ain't trying to come and deal with we. Eh? Hapson them ain't come try and deal with me that talk about insurance. The man got the money. And a little struggling farmers group like we go take all this sufferation here. We not come, we can't even close in the door. We window them can't even close in. We got to be a screw up to try to prevent people from breaking into the place. A whole year. A whole year. You want to tell me these people now frustrate people? I'm gonna stress out people, Jed. We don't go deal with monkey, can't get land prep, can't get food sell. And the little spot we got to sell with food. The man come and mash it up. And I know they can't come and fix it back. But these people now help we. These big businesses again, but these big businesses just taking advantage of we. Taking advantage of we, Jed. They not support we. They man say, boy local, we just go there, them man want to buy your thing. And look there. Everybody a ship with Hobson. The whole country a ship with Hobson. And you tell me a small little farmers group. We building no more. The driver drive the truck and the road have balance and we will bust, mash up the place. And you mean to tell me, say, a whole year go before we could get everything sorted out, that we could serve the customers them properly. Why do these things no fear? And then we got a minister up and down and say, agriculture, and we the community suffer. You want to tell me he don't know? What he supposed to do? Call the phone and tell him so? He know, they know. They know what's going on.
Well, you know what's interesting, trust me? You say that they know, but then they present another narrative to the public because you're saying that they know and they know these things, but then another narrative is being presented.
But look me here talking, look me here talking now. Look me here talking now, venting the frustration, right? And somebody gonna see, and draw it to the attention, and then what? They're gonna be here like say, me want to say what me say and go on, me go on. But they know what man supposed to do, run behind them. These are things that gonna benefit you. We the farmers group, you the minister. If you empower we gonna say you empower we. People gonna see.
Just
but look at it now. Hey, go ahead.
The part that is beneficial for them is the part that they're going to try to focus and promote, because look for example, the part that is important to them or what they figure is relevant to them is what they're going to promote. Because, for example, look when it comes to Rastafari and the cannabis. Right now, there's a big argument. I shouldn't say argument, but there's a big debate in Jamaica because of the comments made by the Prime Minister here in St. Kitts and Nevis saying that they would have passed legislation to respect Rastafari and all. Right? Which is true. They're the first to have done it legally. But however, look here in St. Kitts and Nevis, still Rastafari is still being persecuted, and we are hearing from them in terms of setting out no real trend to really deal with the other things. Look at how they still try to marginalize Rasta by saying that, well, only Rastas who are part of a group or organization could benefit from the rights that they really have, because Sankofa didn't take them to court as a group. Sankofa took them to court as an individual. Sankofa 1 million went in there. So Sankofa went in as a single Rastafari. What you want to say now that Rastafari could only benefit if they are part of a group or organization. So these are some of the things still that, we the people still, as you said, they know. But if they could get away with a lot of things that they know still, because they could prey on the ignorance of the masses and the majority who don't know, and they could come and give them a nice fancy story when it's convenient, that works. And that's seemingly what they have been doing. But I think I see the technician giving a signal here, and if so, then we could probably take a break and hear from Shabazz Organics and Imperial Rights. Technician, if you're there, just give me that signal again, and then you can take a break, and then when we come back, we can open up the phone lines for anybody who want to call in as well.
Food. So we're bringing you to Mansa's Last Stop, a farm where food barriers are removed and legacy is sustained. We believe there's power in picking, so we allow you to decide what leaves the farm and enters your kitchen organically.
beat the summer heat, come and get your carambola, star fruit, make very nice drink. You can come pick them yourself. All the trees them full of vitamin C, antioxidant, build up your immune system. Mine's the last stop. A whole shopping bag for only $10. Half a shopping bag you pay $5. If you get $2, you must get some. Come get your carambola. Don't want to go to waste. Let's go, people.
When comfort, class, and reliability matter, choose the ride that delivers more. Imperial Rides Transportation Services, where every journey is treated like royalty. From airport transfers, private events, shopping trips, island tours, and executive travel, Imperial Rides moves you in style, clean, comfortable, on time, every time. Book your premium taxi or tour service today. Call or WhatsApp 869-665-8459 or email elandflavas@gmail.com. Imperial Rides Transportation Services. Your journey, our priority.
For your cannabis. So it's important now to sort of demonstrate that you are moving away from that prohibition. Like when I met with the police high in our command, the issue was raised that why is Nevis being targeted a lot more based on police arrest and convictions for her versus mainland St. Kitts, because that is an observation and trend which is observed, and so was police on Nevis don't really have much in terms of to do compared to St. right? But the commissioner has made it clear that it needs to be a level playing field, and the education aspect of the officers need to understand that in order for this industry to move forward, a relaxed approach must be taken. Other countries have actually brought about amnesty periods. So the inception stage, the first 2 years on amnesty, meaning that no person can be arrested in terms of cultivating cannabis, right? So it gives you a period to be able to grow and make some money and then come in and apply for your licensing.
Did you know about the Rastafarian Recognition Act?
This new act gives Rastafari groups the right to register for free with the Ministry of Ecclesiastical and Faith-Based Affairs in order to access various tax and other concessions and to be licensed free of charge to participate in the medicinal cannabis industry. Registered Rastafari groups can also legally cultivate, harvest, dry, trim, cure, and possess and smoke cannabis as a sacrament for their upliftment or edification at their places of assembly.
If you realize by just that thing by ecclesiastic, you can dry and can smoke cannabis. You're supposed to say use. Nobody smoke. They not get it. They're too educated. They not cannot buy cannabis used for the purpose. You see, nobody smoke. They just limit. They can't think above the smoke. The brain cells ain't allowing them to, because they're forced to do these things, brethren. You see, that is the problem of society. And these are the same people, when situation happen, they're still gonna use the same holy sacrament. Brethren, my thing is always this, You fight against the plant, you fight against the creator, So therefore you can't contain about the God that you serve, are the same thing. Because you ain't no different than the plant. So how you want to think you come after the plant and you're wiser than the plant? These things make any sense. Without the plant, we don't exist. The plant produce oxygen. Where us breathe out carbon dioxide. So who saving who? You ain't see, we as human beings are very foolish and love to change things and go along with things to fit our opinion when opinion is just an opinion, is not facts. Music festival coming up, I'm still waiting to hear what they're going to do in the music festival, if they're going to have the 5 joints, and if the cars right now they're having a tug because they have given concession and allowance for people to promoters and different people to go in there and smoke herb and sell herb and do that stuff. But no, can't find the same farm to accommodate businesses to have a place for designated smoking area. What kind of crap is that when the government been doing it for the last couple of years? So how all of a sudden, how you make allocation for the music festival, but in these times, yeah, if a bar owner or anyone want open have apply for to have a designated area, nobody go find a farm. Nothing is in place as yet. You see, these are the crap that we entertain. Virgin, people should boycott the music festival. I mean, like boycott things, I don't know about the average kid should have never done it, But once you're not doing me boycott things. And that is how me protest. Me ain't spending, me ain't supporting these things. And that's how it is. Because it works with Martin Luther King and the Montgomery bus thing. You got to boycott. And that's when people take you serious. Hit them where you feel. Boycott things. Don't support it. Let be a time where these activities, you don't support the carnival. It's the right thing to do. You boycott things, because when you're infringing on people's right, you got to boycott things. I don't go music festival. I have no reason to. I ain't going no place where my rights to be violated. Yeah, that's what I don't go culture. I don't go these places, my virgin. Because rule number 1, I don't let people touch me. Because I got some man like to touch you all over and me playing the game doing the body. You understand? Yeah, me playing it. So I don't go a lot of places. And I've been doing this for years upon years. Yeah, because a lot of men love to touch you down and play security guard, and the touching is serious. The touching is real, and I knows that. So I avoid other places, my virgin. Ain't that serious, because those who are supposed to pay, pay. They're getting all the free tickets for them and their friends. So nobody can me, I know the system to a T. So I move on over the system, I maneuver like a vulture. Kind of they're up to no good. The fake. How you going to put out an ad like that, and then you're going to still say you hear the consultant spoke about what the commissioner of police say. I hear the commissioner of police, but he has say the police in Nevis are going to work it down. Well, he not going to work. Well, he need to be fired. He in charge of the police at Nevis. So what we going to say is, and it's a cultural thing, yeah? So Nevis people stupid and thinking people different. They not accept it. But in the Nevis, we accept it. And we are the problem. We leaders are the problem. And we sit back and play party politics thing. Well, then I have to like me. Can nobody gonna do the trial? And my children ain't gonna watch me and think the father are we a G-string and the police do them kind of thing, and they're gonna turn, they do this to my children, now gonna walk. You're mad. This is the problem, Virgin. The system is the problem. You hear the man say the commission, and this was in a public forum. A public forum. You was there, your voice in the video laugh, because you're there with car too. You understand how you're dead with laugh. The whole crowd in there laugh, because one of madness is this. But it is serious. Can it still show, think it. I tell you, I didn't think it when Mother's Day thing was there, and the Sunday was on this strip. And inspector, we agree, and he know me, and me are watching the face, and we there. And man, they bones, I do nothing about it. May tell you that. You understand? The jokes when I drive on now, trouble nobody in a sink it. But in a Nevis, everybody sit back. Are we playing conservative? And them who they consume the most alcohol. So who fooling who? The church drink wine and grape and something. And we embrace these things. You see? We still coming up. I don't hear nothing from nobody who have an interest in getting to government, they must talk about politics, about agriculture, they must talk about cannabis. If they cannot speak along these lines, and what are the plans for small businesses and the harassment of the citizens, and make sure this cannabis thing is fixed properly. I entertain nobody, Virgin.
Bankie, you see what you pointed out just a while ago is the blatant disrespect for the people here of St. Kitts and Nevis, because here is it that the same ministry, because I think the lounge, in order for you to get the lounge, that is under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs as well, and they could find to provide a pass, a temporary pass for music festival, to allow a lounge type setting for music festival. So they look after themselves, making sure that they can make money. But
of course,
if a business if a business wants to get a lounge, they can't find a document to give them. They're not ready to give them a document. And this is what we are sitting back and allowing our elected officials.
With the office of Ecclesiastic, I them don't send out farms already and sending things to over here, and they say they don't know where the things last and after and something. Then okay. And other ministries fighting the same thing, then okay.
But in the interim, we're supposed to suffer. In the interim, we're supposed to get locked up, and in the interim, police supposed to come and harass you because they have not done what they are supposed to do. And we are not holding them accountable. And when you try to hold them accountable, people try to play politics. Like in Nevis, there's a Ministry of Agriculture. Nothing. They said that they're waiting on the lead and Sinkis, but Sinkis don't make a lot of moves, and we ain't seen no moves making Nevis. And in the relation to the things that are constitutionally right.
But
yes, sir.
Under the previous administration, they had the cannabis under the Ministry of Health systematically, right? But we say it's a crap. You see where I'm coming from? So this administration now shift it from health and put it under the Minister of Agriculture. And yet, you're hearing nothing about it.
Hold on.
You're hearing nothing about it in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Hold on. That is not totally true. I trust.
What?
That ain't totally true.
It was under the minister.
What is not
it
true?
was under the thing first. It was under the Prime Minister first.
Here's what's not totally true. What's not totally true is that it's only the medical aspect of cannabis that they put under the Ministry of Agriculture. So we got to be clear with that, because only the medical cannabis aspect of cannabis that is under agriculture. But the other two aspects are
hear me out. But hear me out. The government said they're moving to medicinal cannabis, right?
And that is the problem that we have.
Right?
That is the main problem that we have.
Medicinal cannabis. It's a crop. And we move it from health to the agricultural minister. But you hear nothing about it within the ministry or the Department of Agriculture. So where is it functioning? You see where I'm coming from? I would have asked questions already, like where it's now under the department. So what is our role? What would be our role, our part in it? Would there be extension officers to visit producers? What is our role at the Department of Agriculture? Because it has been brought to the department, so to speak.
And you are senior member of Agriculture right now, and you are telling us that even up to this point, even though it is under the Ministry of Agriculture, you all didn't have the level of discussion yet?
No, because what happened, Yahsonn, is that
because systematically nothing really happening. You're hearing nothing from the board, the authority. You ain't seeing no education, no, nothing. You just see the billboard smoking in public illegal and these kind of things. So the man fighting I and I smoking the herb. The man now watch the benefits. The man now watch nothing. The man just a fight I and I smoking the herb. But
if you're,
but man,
you see, with the part of that,
in the reality of the situation still, we as a people, we are a passive people. We're comfortable, we are very comfortable people. despite all the cries of hard life and sufferation and difficulties. We are very, very fortunate people, very privileged. You know what I mean? We go knock on wood for that sometimes, despite our people who say, despite all the challenges, you know what I mean? Despite all the inconsistencies, we still a privileged and a fortunate people. But we need to hold the ones responsible more accountable. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of the situation. If somebody is going to be recognized and given a responsibility, it shouldn't be given because of friend or favor. It should be given based on capabilities, you know what I mean, interest, passion, and these type of way. Because a lot of today, right now, we got a lot of square pegs in round holes and nothing working, my brother.
I trust.
Really?
I find one of the problem that we are encountering is just what you pointed out. The fact that one, Sankofa never took the commissioner of police to court for no medical cannabis. Sankofa took them to court for cannabis for spiritual use and for personal use in his private space. Those were the arguments presented. Those were the arguments judged upon. Those are the arguments that gave us our constitutional rights as Rastafari and also as an adult, any adult citizen over 18 in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Those are the arguments that were presented. Like you mentioned, the government now opted to, based on what they looked at in terms of making money from the revenues and from the licenses that they can get from the medical aspect, they opted to focus on the medical aspect. So they hijacked the cannabis industry and focused on the medical aspect of cannabis. As you mentioned, it would have been under the Prime Minister's ministry, Ministry of Health, and then it was moved to agriculture because they claim it's a crop. However, it is only that aspect that was moved there. The aspects that Sankofa took them to over are under the Ministry of Ecclesiastic Affairs, and we have never heard anything from Jeffrey Hanley. So sometimes that is part of the problem that we are having because they would have hijacked the cannabis industry and it was only focusing on the medical aspect. And that is where everybody get caught up in this medical thing when the reality is our side, the areas that we really should be focused on, because as Rastafari, we're not concerned about the medical industry. We're not interested in the medical industry. There's some who might be interested in the business side and the good side of it. For St. Kitts and Nevis, the government has opted to, if you want to get into the business side, they claim that the license is free for Rastafari. So basically, in terms of Rastafari, there's no argument there. But in the interim, in terms of our constitutional rights, that is being breached. That is what is being breached, and the minister is not doing his work in terms of the Honorable Jeffrey Hanley, where that is concerned. Well, let me stand to be corrected. He and his ministry is now making some more efforts as a result of Bankie's situation and Jama's situation. So I'll correct myself where that is concerned. But prior to that, the ministry was dormant. For all those years, the ministry was dormant. Dead. And so we have to hold them accountable. And we, the people, need to hold our elected officials accountable. Mr. Brantley, you were on the program. I put a question to you. You say that from your vantage point, from a legal perspective, you don't see why, and this is our argument as well. If I have a constitutional right, I don't see why I need a license to exercise my constitutional right. And this is the first time I've heard you really presented that aspect of the argument. And we, the masses, the people, would love to have more of these kinds of not just utterances to sound good on the platform, but also to take the challenge where it needs to be, put it to the test. See Bankie them here, see Jama them here, see people here in Nevis, in your island, because it's one federation. Yes, but the Prime Minister would have highlighted the areas that he have a say in terms of from the federal aspect, and then the other things are things that Nevis has its own autonomy over, and in relation to the constitutional rights, in terms of the 5 trees, in terms of the Rastafari religious rights and all of those things. you have all rights to defend those things in Nevis, but we're not hearing from you either. We're not hearing from your Minister of Agriculture. We're not hearing from you in terms of dealing with these things. And then again, you can advise the police. The Constitution said that you cannot, and then I must take your advice, but you can advise them, and there is no evidence that you have advised them other than you're claiming that you sent a letter. And I forget to ask you about that when you were on our platform, because you said you sent a letter to ask the Prime Minister and the Attorney General for 18 to 24 months amnesty period to address it. And you did not tell us if there were any feedback from that request. So I'm asking now publicly, and I guess when we get you back on the platform, we'll ask you that question specifically. But Bankie, we're getting closer to wrap up time, and Chosai, we want to give you the
Chosai, close
opportunity.
your fridge. Tell Chosai close the fridge. You're born current.
Yeah. I try bringing the pot still, you know. I tell hustle on the Friday night, you know. But
yeah, man, I got
yeah,
you.
me begging them. Give thanks for the opportunity, you know. But I just want to block this sound to the farming community. You know what I mean? We complain a lot. We abuse the government a lot. You know what I mean? Which in the reality, the government is the shepherd. We are the sheep. You know what I mean? But like I said, we been doing what we're doing for years. And as an extension officer and a farmer, I like to say I am both sides of the fence. So I know what the government doing, what we're doing, I know what's going on in the farming community. So I could see we both sides falling short and what we could do better. And to the farming community, I always say, we need to find time to discuss our issues. The average farmer, he gets up, he goes to his farm, he look at his operation, and he tries his best to address his problems there how he can. That's where I'm coming from, to achieve his success, right? But at the end of the day, the question remains, what are we doing collectively to try fix our problems? We can't just sit down and want the government fix everything for we. But sometimes, yes, we got to provide the suggestions, the solutions, the ideas. But these are not going to come unless we have discussions and we agree to disagree that solution one or option one is the best way for we to go forward. So without dialogue, we ain't really going to address the issue then. So that's just my closing words there to the community.
But before you go, Chosai, I know there was something in the news where the Minister of Agriculture donated 5,000 gallon water tanks to the farming community.
He was not the minister.
Is who?
He's not the minister. Systematically, there's a project going on UCN doing a project in terms of land sustainability and restoration and that kind of vibe. So UCN is trying to assist farmers in terms of planting trees to prevent erosion, to try help whole land. You know what I mean? They're trying to assist farmers with irrigation. So the part that happened the other day was they were trying to give out some 5,000 gallon tanks to help the farmer to be able to irrigate a crop. You see where I'm coming from? The government would have given out some 1,000 gallon tanks. The government would have given out some 1,000 gallon tanks. So they're saying, no, they're giving you a 5,000 gallon tank. So that should help you to irrigate something, not just have water there where you could spray or wash your hand or wash or something. So that's the meditation behind that.
But the question behind that, if you're going to have a tank, it means you have to be elevated. And a 1,000 gallon tank is a very large tank. So multiply a 5,000 gallon tank. How they're going to assist them, the farmers, them going to get this tank erected and get water in it? How is this thing going to happen? Because most of those 1,000 gallon tanks is just lying on the ground.
Yeah, well, I was one who went out with the individuals to identify farmers and look at potential farmers. right? And I was saying, we could see from the 25 by 25 that farmers get tanks and ain't using the tanks now.
Of course.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, giving me a tank and I don't have a shed to channel water in it, I don't have access to the government water line to fill the drum, ain't helping me. It's just wasting the resources.
Yes.
So, I was explaining that the height of the tank is very tall.
Of course,
so,
it's a 5,000 tank you talk about, Virgin. You know how big that be? And
so
thick
giving the
diameter.
man the tank, you got to be able to, you go assist the man, find out how the man could help himself, because you just give me the tank, I still got to go find a structure to channel water into the tank. You see where I'm coming from? And I'm not saying that I'm supposed to get everything. But if you're trying to help a man, you're trying to put him in a position where he can go forward. Not that you give him two things and he still can't move.
So yes, you see, a program like this, right? If you're gonna have assistant, to buy a tank, it must be elevated to get the right flow of pressure. You must take it up to go at least 3 feet, 4 feet. The higher it is, the better for the flow of gravity. But then, how you get full of water? If you not got a shed where you take your water pipe, where you peg and then fill it up a water, I won't capture the water from the rain. You see what I mean? So these things gotta be systematically thought through. So when I hear about this project, I know I've been in the system where I'm being put in charge of helping the community when it comes to wires and different stuff like that and greenhouses, and put on the name who should get this and stuff. You sound like you're a Virgin Yahsonn and you now use it. And when I come back, Yahsonn just got the tank there, let them sell the tank. Me nah dig you nothing. You gotta build the foundation with the tank on waistband. Show me how water can get in there. I know what the purpose and give the tank for. What?
Yeah, but the next thing too, it's like you can't just want to say you give help and the help ain't beneficial. Because a lot of people get things under the 25 by 25 program that ain't no use to them. You see where I'm coming from? So I saying
when things
like,
free, everybody wants in a Virgin. When things free, everybody wants to say after 2 and 3. And then I see it.
Saying, but sometimes we got to be honest. We got to be honest. It can't just be because we want to vote. You see where I come from? For example, there was a time where, you know what I mean, a lady, I was asked to go to visit a lady. So she called the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister said, go check her out. She want drip line. All right. I go check the lady. Miss, you have a connection to water? No. You have a shed? No. So what you going to do with drip line? Eh? I said, but she said she going to get a connection. She said she going to build a shed. You see where I'm coming from? I report it back, and it's like, you man went to the Prime Minister, you know. Is the Prime Minister constituency? But I said, but in the reality of the situation, he wants to help the lady because she in his constituency. But the help he giving her ain't no benefit to her.
Yes, I.
So when they're supposed to tell the Prime Minister, the officer went and checked the lady. The officer said she ain't got no shed. She do not have a connection to water. So for us to give her drip lines, she cannot use them. So if you ain't giving her a shed and she farm, or giving her link to the government water, it makes no sense to give her drip line. So this is why I'm saying sometimes we got square pegs in one hole. You're in a position and you're not supposed to be in the position to be a yes man. You understand? Because right is right and wrong is wrong. You see where I'm coming from? So if the man can tell you, say, deal with the lady, fine, you check into it. The vibes come back. Lord, man. Lord. So we're going to gear the drip line them still, and she not going to water. How she going to use them? And that's what happened with the 25 by 25. A lot of people call the Prime Minister and cuss him off. He call up the department, say deal with them. A lot of people call the minister cuss him out. He call up the department, say deal with them. Where are the extension officers who are the ears and the eyes and the ground? How you going to go around them? And then look at it now. Everybody about what going on? When the department going to get back things again? When I say, if the man had even reduced the thing them to half price, you still helping the community. So the serious farmers, them who interested in the program, would have come up and buy the thing. So instead of you buying one roller gun cover for $675, make it where you could get two for the $600 or $650. So you can tell me, say that no help? That no help? But look at it, we give everything, now we can't restock. The same farmers, them say, me buy things from people who no got no farm. So there got to be a different way on how we go about distributing things.
So how nothing there and there's a $5 million project
every year,
for the nature project?
Every year the government in agriculture as man. The government don't help the community or they try to help the community. But the approach to me, it'll be too political. Because sometimes the same people might get over and over and over and over and over again. And you're not seeing no progress, you're not seeing no change. So we ain't gonna change the approach. We ain't gonna change it. And if me gonna give X amount of material and me can't see you bring no produce to the government marketing unit and no way. We can't continue to give you things, reality.
Yahsonn, I was listening a show with Peter Adrian, an economist who work at who retired from Central Bank. And him you hear me, Yahsonn?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. And he mentioned when it comes to delinquency, how high the rate in sync it is when it comes to people paying the mortgage and all this different stuff like that and so forth. You understand? So when you get a house on your system from the government, if people choose not to pay through NNC and a lot of these things, and it's the same thing when it comes to when things are, you're giving people things, it's no accountability. You see what I mean? It's like, and we got to comment on that. But I know we have already passed the time, and we appreciate Chosai for coming on. So I just want to say, remember,
and the last
you
thing,
can do. Go ahead.
Yeah, just like you're saying, Bankie, you know what I mean? There has to be a different approach in terms of the way we do things. Because in the reality, it's like, how to put it, by? How to put it? We kind of rewarding delinquency and bad performance. For want of a better word. Because back in the days, we were told that once you do certain things, once you perform, once you come first, once you produce good results and good things, you would be rewarded. But now today, it's like, but you do stupidness and you get a promotion. You understand? The hard-working people now get the support, but the casual ones, them get all the support. I don't really know how I go. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, to each his own, every time I sit down on the own bottom, and as a farmer man, I keep saying that we as farmers, we got to find a way to work together. No one man can feed the country. Sparks alone cannot feed the country. You understand? Everybody got the role to play. You see where I'm coming from? And the sooner that we realize that only together we could do it, the better the quicker we can get it. Because no one farmer can feed the country. He could get his own tractor, he could get his own seed, he could get access to all the water. No one man can do it. So we must work together to achieve this objective. So give thanks, Yahsonn, give thanks, Bankie, give thanks to the viewers and subscribers. I want to say thanks to my organization, the Sunny Point Agricultural Cooperative. I want to say thanks to our supporters. You know what I mean? Union, the different businesses around, you know what I mean, Jeff, you know what I mean, yeah, all who support the Sunny Point Agricultural Cooperative. And before we go, yeah, Sweet 16, the annual World Food Day, Food Fair, Agricultural Exhibition, Secondary School Cook-Off. You know what I mean? It's going to be big this year. You know what I mean? I don't want to bust the bubble, but there is something happening exciting in the culinary world. There's a regional competition happening in Miami this year. And for the first time, St. Kitts Nevis is going to have a team, a part of this competition. And I'm proud to say that one of the participants from one of the previous cook-offs has made it onto that team. You know what I mean? So I want to say kudos to my team, give thanks to the schools for supporting us with the initiative, and we look forward for a bigger and better showing this coming October. You know what I mean? So congratulations to all those who have participated in the years, and we look forward for a bigger and better year this year. You know, give thanks, Majesty.
Yeah, man. Enough respect for forwarding and making your contribution. I think your contribution was well received, very passionate, and very, precise with
The food we said,
words, So
yeah,
give
man.
thanks. As we close off, I'm just gonna try and get in some of the last comments. So we had the ultimate movie clip says, I have a question. Do we have a community body or group that protects the rights of people on St. Kitts and Nevis? The ultimate movie clip says the reason for the previous question seems the government thinks it made the country by itself, how it make decisions and make actions without the people's consent or approval. Something that I've been looking at as well too. So I agree with you. The ultimate movie clips. We claim to be a democratic society, and we would want to expect that our elected officials would come and consult with us before they really make decisions. But seemingly, the way it works, they make decisions on behalf of themselves. That's it, Trusai. Bobby Jones says, I came to the conclusion that SKN is a very dysfunctional society where people are scared to protest. The judicial system is unfair, it needs updating, and some persons don't want to do the work. They don't want to turn over that market to you guys, but let a foreign company come in, say they want to use the government and give it away. Nabo says, we as a people need to recognize and reward those that are making the efforts to be productive. Instead, most try to stifle it. Bobby Jones says all properties are registered. Look, Mark, SSID, we found 200 and something acres in the Destiny district. That's unregistered. Was he lying? Again? And Bobby Jones, this is insane. Why aren't this in court? That's true, Chasai. All is one and one is all. Same tree, different branches. Real talk. Carlisle Paris says, you say we are a passive people, and I say we are a coward people of little action. The ultimate movie clip says there still comes a time we have to stand up for what is right. Slavery comes in many forms. We are trapped and don't even realize it. But we have to free ourselves. The ultimate movie clip says, born to be free, not a slave. And that is the all of the comments for this evening. And we really want to thank all of you who would have commented on the wall. We didn't have any cards, but we know based on the comments on the wall that those who were listening and who are listening are very interested and seemingly wanted to make their comments, and we really appreciate that. We also want to say to all of you who are with us at this point, before you leave, especially you who are on the YouTube platform, if you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to the platform before you leave. Take 10 seconds. Subscribe to the YouTube platform. If you're listening to us via Facebook, subscribe to our Facebook platform. If you're listening via Twitch, subscribe via Twitch. I want to say thank all of you who are participating. You could have been doing anything else on a Friday evening, but you make it your business to be here with us on Real Entertainment Network. I want to say thanks to the Water Department and the Public's work and St. Kitts for choosing us today to give them the island tour, and we really had a wonderful time with them, taking them around the island, giving them that Nevis experience. And we want to welcome, many other groups out of St. Kitts to come on over, experience Nevis. Nevis is beautiful. It's, a lot of people, Bankie, a lot of people live in St. Kitts and never come Nevis yet, I mean, like, it's really
thing, of course.
I mean, it's sad. And somebody telling me, I talked to a lady today and she telling me that only 3 times she has ever been to Date Bay, and she lives in St. Kitts. Only 3 times they could count it on their finger. So it's interesting. I'm just trying to encourage us to explore our countries. That is why people are coming and wanting to take it back, and we have it here and we take it for granted. Take some time out, explore Nevis, explore St. Kitts. People, give thanks. Bankie, you're closing because I guess we are keeping up the Real Entertainment Network extra time. So give love everybody until next week Tuesday. Next week Monday, we're gonna have quality time with Alan, and then next week Tuesday we have another exclusive edition of the Topics here on Real Entertainment Network. Enough love everybody. Until then.
Well, just want to thank those everyone for tuning in this evening and their participation and stuff like that on the network, and continued giving us the support when they see me and you and stuff like that. We really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted. Also, tomorrow at Manso's Last Stop, you can go and get your car meal and fish, your car meal and oxtail, your car meal and chicken, your rice and chicken, your rice and fish, vice versa, along with your salad and your pies and stuff like that, along with your local drinks, your beers or whatever it is. Just enjoy the view, good company. So just want to big up the chef, Amanis and Aisha and stuff like that. Also big up all those who come to on Saturdays and on Fridays and Sundays and support, and also come and get their fresh vegetables. Tomorrow, I won't be at the shop, at the farm. I'll be at the Malcolm Gishad Park taking part in the 3rd annual Multicultural Festival. Shabazz Organics will represent farming, showing the produce, the different varieties of mangoes. They're selling mango, maple mango, and different varieties. And also some of the varieties we have on the island, and some samples on some. Also we'll have plantain from the farm, make chips with them. So you'll get your plantain chips, best chips there is. Also, you get your cookies from Nice Cookie Jar. We'll also have cookies there available for those who love Nice Cookie Jar. And you'll still have your Marby, the best Marby in town. Definitely will be there also, along with jelly water and other stuff like that. So come out. You'll get also have, if you want plantain and want banana and stuff like that, that will also be available. So come out and support the event and look for the Yellow Tent Shabazz Organics, and showcasing different varieties of mangoes and mangoes for sale and stuff like that, and promoting agriculture and so the type of food that Nevis can produce in its high quality. So just want to say thanks again for all those who are tuning in, and also give thanks for our guest, Chosai, for coming in and giving his input when it comes to what's going on in St. Kitts and in Sandy Point, especially when it comes to SPATS and that cooperative over there, and his aspect when it comes to the cannabis industry. So Yahsonn, enough respect, and give thanks to all those who are tuning in, and definitely looking forward for Monday and Tuesday next week, and following Friday, where we continue having some serious discussion. Enough respect. Technician?
Food security run the show. Food security, that's the priority. Plant the food locally. Feed the whole community. Everything agriculture. Building for the future. Hey, Bankie and Yahsonn bringing solutions for the islands and the nation. Cannabis industry growing fast, creating opportunities built to last. Medicinal herbs and business too. Education changing how we view. Greenhouse farming changing the game. Hydroponics helping the grain. Fishery, livestock, fruit tree line. Agriculture make the island shine. Support local every chance they get. Farmer working hard, don't forget. No nation strong if the people can't eat. Local food keep the country complete. Wave your hand for the farmers them. Wave your hand for the growers them. Plant more food. Grow more food. Feed the nation like we should. From St. Kitts straight across Nevis side. Food security must be the guide. agriculture, where food security is everybody business.